Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at the Munitorum Field Manual. That's right, we've got the points. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. Get all your points for free with the first Munitorum Field Manual of the new 40K. So this is the final piece of the puzzle, so to speak. We have the free rules. We have the free data sheets for every single faction and faction army rules. And now we have the points as well. So from here on out, everyone will be able to play Warhammer 40,000 10th edition using completely free rules. Very, very cool. Got to give Games Workshop a big old high five on this one. This is a welcome change a lot of us have been calling for a long time, and it is great to see that they are finally obliging. We've seen the rules, we've seen the data sheets, so all we need now to get stuck in this new edition of Warhammer 40,000 is the points values for your miniatures, and the time has come to unseal the vault and download them for free. Within the new Munitorum Field Manual, you'll find the complete list of points values for each faction, as well as enhancements offered by each faction's first detachment. Download it below to start mustering your army for a new phase of galactic war. And the link will be in the description, not only for the Munitorum Field Manual download, but all of the downloads so far. It's safe to say a fair few things have changed in the new edition, even where the simple matter of points costs are concerned. The minds behind the new edition can explain the changes far better than we ever could, so we've snuck into their heavily guarded workshop to tease a few words from the Warhammer Design Studio. Unit sizes. Rich from the studio says, unit sizes are now much easier to manage. Rather than adding individual models to a squad, you buy them in increments, sets of 5 models, 10 models, and so on. These generally correlate to the quantity you'll get in a unit's box, so you won't need to agonize over how to include all the models you've bought. It also helps to quickly understand the strength of a full squad at a glance, and makes list building far quicker and simpler. So that is definitely just one of the changes that we have seen that essentially just came from Age of Sigmar. And I have to say, I think using all the positive stuff from Age of Sigmar to change 40K and make it a better game is a great idea. And I think it's really going to pay dividends because honestly, the 3rd edition of Sigmar, the current edition, is the best there has ever been. And I have a feeling 10th edition, from what we've seen so far, will be the same way. However, for those who love to tinker and play with lists, there's still tons of fun to be had by adding leaders to units and applying enhancements across your army. For example, armies like Death Guard have a range of options for attaching multiple characters to the same unit, resulting in dozens of potential ability combinations for their battle line of Plague Marines. As a result, list building is as fun and varied as ever. War Gear. Robin from the studio says, the point costs of a unit's weapons and war gear are now incorporated into the cost of that unit. There's no longer any need to count up all the individual weapon loadouts and do a bunch of arithmetic, just to determine the total points cost of one individual unit. This makes mustering an army much simpler and much quicker. It also frees people to make the units they've always wanted to, using all the coolest bits found in the kits without having to worry about spiraling points costs. The new edition makes sure that every unit has a role on the battlefield, and likewise every weapon option has a role to distinguish itself from the competitive choices. By comparing the profiles and abilities, you can see for yourself that certain weapons are clearly better against different targets. Determining the best loadout for any unit depends on what you want it to do, and what you think you'll be facing, rather than just paying more for a better gun. There will be situations when a flamer is much more valuable to you than a melt-a-gun, and vice versa. In practice, we found that specific costs for different weapons typically added to the complexity of working out your army, for little gain regarding the actual output to the unit on the battlefield. And I agree with this for sure. In most cases, in the previous editions, there was always an obvious choice, and that's never a good thing because then you just end up with a bunch of armies that are essentially the same. And the additional flexibility of kitting out units however you want versus how they come in the box completely changes the dynamic of the game and makes balancing much more difficult. Because obviously you can't just make a unit the same points cost if multi-meltas are substantially better than, say, flamethrowers, because everybody's just going to take the multi-meltas. So again, a welcome change. And this should really help out with balancing going forth into the future because you don't have all those individual little tweaks to points, removing one single piece of war gear and adding something somewhere else. You end up with a lot more of like standardized lists. Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products, including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now, back to the video. The simplified, not simple philosophy of the new edition streamlines many of the rules. But with so many moving parts in the average battle, there are bound to be some interactions that require a little more nuance. To keep these clarifications from overburdening the core rules, the Warhammer Design Studio have put together a commentary document going over many of the less common situations you might encounter. If you've ever wondered what happens when a weapon's damage is reduced below 1, it isn't. Whether abilities stack when duplicated, nope, pick one. Or exactly which units can see into and out of ruins with pictures, we recommend giving this document a solid read. So we see there is a second download the rules commentary, and it's sort of like a FAQ type document. Stay with us next week as the Legends of the Horus Heresy datasheets arrive for download, alongside full rules for Combat Patrol. So definitely looking forward to the full rules for Combat Patrol. That is super exciting, and I do plan on embracing Combat Patrol on the channel. I asked a couple of questions about who would be interested in Combat Patrol battle reports, and if everything plays out as we are planning it, we essentially hope to have all Combat Patrols fully painted, played, and put on the table this edition so you guys can see awesome battle reports Combat Patrol style. Also really looking forward to the boarding patrol rules as well. Games Workshop has already been very clear that boarding patrol is not going anywhere. So we're going to see some kind of like revisions to the rules, etc. But we are working on a full table for boarding patrol as well. So if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the best time. Going into the new edition, expect more content, better quality, and I wish I could say more often, but we put out at least one video every single day. So make sure you do subscribe. We also have a big giveaway coming up to celebrate 10,000 subscribers, the launch of 10th edition, and to give back for the community for all the growth and positivity from you guys. So very cool. I'm not going to dive completely into the actual Munitorum field manual. There's a ton to see there, and obviously just combing through all the numbers live is not going to be very exciting. But I will come back to you guys with some units that appear to be undercosted and really good, or some units that appear to be overcosted and probably won't see much play. We'll discuss some of the changes to the actual game and what I expect the meta to look like. As far as the overarching rules changes, we'll essentially shift more towards, say, like a vehicle type meta and more towards like dedicated units, etc. But very excited. Expect lots and lots of content coming in the future. And if you have looked over your army's specific rules, data sheets, and now you have a look at the points as well, and you notice any of those units that seem to be really, really good or really, really bad now, please let me know in the comments down below, as it always helps when you guys talk about your specialized armies, because it is very difficult to keep track of 20-something factions. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up there for today. Special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the video. Check them out to save 15% on your Games Workshop products. Link in the description. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and it looks like I got my work cut out for me with this Munitorum field manual, and I hope you do too.